This video falls under the category of sounds most like a sitcom on television. SIM, DIM, and SODIM. These are actually memory packages, or really they are the structure, the skeleton, if you will, of how this memory was put together, how it attached to the motherboard, how it was read by the motherboard, and the kind of physical design of the memory. Okay, let's start off with SIM. You may not see SIM on the exam, but to understand DIM and SODIM, you need to understand SIM. Okay, and I'll show you a picture of these a little bit later on. SIM means single inline memory module. Now, the earliest memory modules we had in our computers were SIMs. You had contacts on both sides of the module, but they were both redundant. They both went to the same place, and they just made the contacts so the memory could be utilized. Now, these things were irritating because the modules had to complete the data path, meaning they had to be loaded in pairs. You had to have at least two. You could have as many as four. Couldn't have odd numbers. It had to do with the data bit path and all sorts of things. But the bottom line was you had to consult your manual to see what could be loaded, if anybody could be open, just all those kinds of things. So that was SIMs. Okay, well, DIM, the dual inline memory module, is what we use today. You have contacts. If you look at the bottom of the piece of RAM, you'll see those little gold looking shiny squares. Those are the contacts that slide down into the RAM holder. All right, and the contacts on each side of that module are fully independent of each other. Okay, so you're basically dual inline. You're taking advantage of both sides of that memory. So that's DIM. Now, SODIM is small outline dual inline memory module, and this is what's used in laptops. It's the very same thing as DIM, a dual inline memory module. It's just smaller, so that it'll go into laptops. It's a little kind of chunky, almost square looking memory. And then there's micro DIM, micro dual inline memory module, and this is a little bit smaller than SODIM, and again, this is showing up in laptops and other devices that have it. Now, here's a picture I want to show you so that you can see what this looks like. Notice this is a SIM, and some of these you can't tell just by looking at them. You just have to know. But this was a 30-pin SIM, 72-pin SIM, single inline memory module, meaning these little contacts were the same front and back. And then here's a micro DIM. Notice you don't see these very much, but then this is the SODIM, the 144, the 200-pin DDR, and then there's DDR2. And then here's a 168-pin DIM. It's SDRAM. Then here is a DDR DIM, 184-pin and 240-pin. Okay, so you can kind of get a visual of what these looked like to see what's going on. As you notice, manufacturers and different aspects of the technology have played with the number of pins on these pieces of memory. Notice the little breaks in here at odd places, and this is every piece of memory has a different key, if you will, so that you can't or to try to help prevent you from shoving the wrong size and make and type of memory down into the memory holder. Okay, so notice if you had a 200-pin DDR and a 200-pin DDR2, you'd have a different pin layout for those. So anyway, that's a quick explanation and then a little visual on the differences between SIM, DIM, and SODIM. Not a lot to know here. Make sure you understand the differences in those because you could get asked those aspects on the exam.